Wow. Guys, unfortunately, there's something called transference. I was expecting them to go through. I think I'm struggling. I'm struggling not because I can't contain it, but the reality is it's been a journey, and you are not the only people who may have gone through that journey. There are lots of families who go through these experiences of not having children. But yo, what's up, people? It's Nana SA here. I always say on this channel, what we've definitely been doing, or what we've done for the past times, is to celebrate, experiences of Black people. I don't know whether to say today's story is a bit emotive, whether that's the word. But for today's story, I think this is something that is really deep on my heart, okay? Because as a Black person, as a father, you know what? Let me go straight to the point. In most communities, immediately you get married, especially, I don't know whether it's the same for other communities, but within the Black community, once you get married, the expectation would be, yo, when are you going to have babies? When are you going to have children? Equally, in terms of people of faith, the believers, God will give you a child, or give you children. Children are blessings from God. This is the situation where you've gone through your stages in terms of, looking after yourself, getting to that relationship, and unfortunately, there is no baby. Guys, my name is Nana SA. I run this project called Black Next Gen. For today, we are having a couple, who are, ready to talk to us about their journey. And the journey that some people may call childlessness. I don't know whether that's the right word. Infertility. I don't know whether that's the right word. Whatever term you may call it. Some people may choose not to come on the camera. But they said, Nana, come on it. We are ready to talk. Not just because they felt, I'm not going to give you the whole vibe. Guys, my name is Nana. We are meeting this amazing couple who are ready to tell us about their journey. Stand by. Let's introduce Nana and her husband. Usually we think babies are just about the priority of the woman. I've got the husband also on board. Yeah? And that is really important. So guys, this is who we have. Nana, please introduce yourself, Kevin, and do that after, please.
Okay, so my name is Mrs. Nana Equia Agbuado. And my husband?
Go ahead, Kev.
My name is Kenneth Edem Agbuado, and this is our family. This is my lovely wife and a beautiful daughter we've got.
So Ken is already giving you the spiel where you understand that, there is a beautiful daughter. Unfortunately, she had to be in nursery today. She is our pride and joy, she's definitely our pride and joy. But I felt, this is something that we all need to learn, and we all need to understand, what has gone on behind the scenes, right? I believe if you look at the smiles, if you look at these beautiful couple, you will definitely be thinking, yeah, they are definitely in for the smiles, but you've had a story, you've had a journey, yeah? And I think that is exactly the reason why I'm here. If you look further down, you will see, the journey, our fertility journey after 11 years. Who do we start with, Nana or Ken? Tell us about how it started in terms of, feeling that pressure of what is happening. Who want to start? Go for it.
Where do I start? Well, as you said in your introduction, once you meet a guy that says, oh, I like you, I want to marry you, suppose the next thing is to have a child, isn't it? So we met in 2009, and we got married in less than a year, actually. I always joke that I was a good catch, right? He couldn't let me go. So yeah, we got married in 2010, and as usual, the questions were flowing about. oh, when are you going to have your child? Are you pregnant? Don't you want children? Can you stop studying? Because I was at uni at the time as well. Can you stop studying and have a child? What will all these studies do for you and all of that? I didn't really pay attention to those things. And to be honest with you, I didn't even think there was an issue, because once you marry, or when you are at a certain age and you have a boyfriend, or you are in a serious relationship, you don't really think about having protective sex. So we weren't doing any of that. But I wasn't falling pregnant. Let me put it that way. Well, I didn't pay much attention to it until, I think about 6 years down the line, I would say, when, you start thinking, oh my God, how old am I now? I'm nearing 40. What is happening? But we never even spoke about it. And every now and again, when, my husband will sort of make a comment that, oh, somebody asked if my wife is pregnant, I'm like, you know what, I think maybe I need to start looking into this. And he will always say, Nana, I did not marry you for children. Children are a blessing from God. If it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, I still love you the same. And I'm like, hey, you are saying that now. You wait. Or you go to your country, Ghana, and then you go to your hometown, and then you come back and tell me you have a child, and what do I do and all that. And I think at a point in time, I even told him, look, you know what, just go and get a child from somewhere. Yeah, go. I don't mind. Was like, no, I didn't marry you for this. I'm not in this marriage for a child. If it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, it doesn't. And yeah, I think I'll let him also say his bit, and then we'll take it from there.
Wow, Ken, we don't usually have men talking about these issues, but I was really honored, when Nana told me that Ken is also happy to talk. And I don't know whether, let's do it. Ken, tell us about it. What was going on for you?
To me, the way we were brought up, there was no pressure at home for childbearing. So I wasn't pressured, and also I wasn't getting any pressure from home, back home, like from my mom and my dad. But some extent, you know how it didn't back home. They were as, oh, have you had children yet? And I just brushed it aside because I didn't want it to bother me. Because it's the culture settings that we have back home. It's, as you said, as soon as you get married, people are expecting you to have babies. But here comes a family where I belong, where my mom, my dad never pressured me. Have you had a baby? My mom had never sat me down to ask me, when are you going to have a baby? Okay. And that alone took a lot of pressure off me, because there's no pressure coming from my dad, no pressure coming from my mom. So it was relaxed. But it was a time that I got really angry within myself, and I'm saying it today because when the pregnancy was not coming, and my wife was so, I don't know whether it was desperation, and a friend of hers, and she's tried to do surrogacy through her, and that was when I got really angry, because I've never asked for that. And it's like she's already given up. That's what I've just felt. And I felt, why do I want a woman to carry my baby? And I was so much hurt, but I've never said anything of that sort to her before, because I didn't know where it came from. And lo and behold, years down the line, love, miscarriages came across, but it was hard. Some of them is how to deal with it. And my way of dealing with it is just relaxing within myself, not talking about it. Yeah. But women want to talk about it. And I felt that in those circumstances, I might have let my wife down in a way, because I just felt the best way for me to keep it is to just not talk about it, because I don't want to bother myself with it. And that's one thing that I came across. But lo and behold, 11 years down the line, God saw our faces and brought smiles onto our face. So it's where the world that we've waited for long, but I'm so happy and glad that at the right time He made it possible.
Wow. Guys, Unfortunately, there's something called transference. I was expecting them to go through. Yeah, I think I'm struggling. I'm struggling not because I can't contain it, but the reality is, it's been a journey, and you are not the only people who may have gone through that journey. There are lots of families who go through these experiences of not having children. But I did actually follow. I do actually follow two of my very inspirational people, Wadimaya and Miss Trudy. They are YouTubers, and they got married just about a few weeks ago. And whilst people were wishing them well in their new relationship, somebody did post out there to say that when are you gonna, we are now waiting for the babies, right? Which made me straight away jump onto. I'm not that person, in terms of social media, discussions, but I just jumped onto it straight away and I said, you know what? Babies are blessings. People don't know what other people go through in order for a child to come through. So maybe this is going to be my appeal out there. If you may have, asked somebody through a good heart, wanting to, wish them well, I think that question of when are you going to have babies is a question that we need to be careful, because people don't know other people's journeys or people's stories. Nana, at what point in time did you start to think there was a challenge for you when you got pregnant?
I think, should I say, I was quite big to the extent where I used to wear size 28, dress size 28. So I think for me it was more of, it's not happening because of the weight. And when you go to the GP, they will tell you, go and lose weight. There's nothing we can do. You have to lose weight before, you try, because if not, then there'll be complications and all of that. And we are both workaholics. So we were both burying our heads in work and not talking about it to say, what are we doing? When should we try? And I remember it got to a point where I think 2010, 11, thereabout, a friend of mine spoke to me about weight loss surgery. And I'm like, okay, 6,000, I'll save and go and do it. So I actually saved up the money. And then on the day that I went for my consultation in a private clinic, that friend was ill because she had had the surgery, but she got very ill and she was in intensive care. So my friend's sister called me and said, Nana, where are you? And I said, I'm just coming from the clinic. It was like, do not do it. My sister is dying. Do not do it, because my sister is on life support right now at the hospital. I'm like, what? So that really freaked me out. And that's the money that we used for our actual wedding.
Okay. Yeah, so Nana, you were telling us about, maybe that stage of desperation where you had to think about weight loss surgery.
Yeah, so we used that money for our wedding, but I think I didn't have confidence in myself because of the weight, so therefore I didn't want to talk about the baby. So that went on, and then 2012, 2013, thereabout, my husband went to Ghana for about 8 months. And that's something we can do separate as an interview if you want to cover that as well. But we were separated for 8 months, not by choice. So he was in Ghana, I was here on my own, and he then came back after the 8 months, and I'm like, I've got to try. All this while, I was sort of trying herbal stuff, and anyone that I would speak to, I'm like, when you're coming from Ghana, can you bring me something? And when he came, I then fell pregnant. I didn't know I was pregnant. And that was one of my issues, that I never knew when I was pregnant. I will only find out I'm pregnant when I'm miscarrying.
Wow.
That's when I will know that, there was a pregnancy, because my body wouldn't change. I would not feel nauseous, no morning sickness, none of those symptoms that, some pregnant women get. And I used to work in Milton Keynes that time. So I went to work, and then I was bleeding, and I thought, this is my normal period. My periods were not regular either. So I thought it was normal. But then I was at work. It continued for 3 days, to the point where I had change of clothes in my car boot. So by the time I drive to Milton Keynes, I have to go and change my clothing. That was how bad it was. And I said to my manager one after, I said, I'm not feeling well. This is what's been going on. I need to go to hospital. So I took myself to the emergency in Milton Keynes, and they're like, your blood is so low, we have to admit you. I said, no, you cannot admit me. I discharged myself and then I drove home. So I was sitting here, our couch was there, green color was there in that corner with my husband, and I was just bleeding, and I just felt this clot come out of me, and it fell right on the floor. I scooped it. I wasn't even using the toilet. I had to urinate just to show the hospital and the ambulance crew how much bleeding I was losing. Bleeding I was having and the blood I was losing. So the ambulance came, took me to hospital. I was admitted. That was when I knew I was pregnant and miscarrying. They had to give me blood, give me, other infusions and medications. So that's when they referred me to my GP, and he actually started the investigation to see what's going on and all of that. So then 2013 went, 2014, and I was still having it, like getting pregnant, miscarrying, and then I'll know that, oh, I'm 3 weeks pregnant or I'm 4 weeks pregnant. So 2014 into 15 into 2016, I felt pregnant. I had lost a lot of weight then. I felt pregnant again. I didn't know I was pregnant. And I wasn't feeling well, so I did the test, and then I was pregnant. Went to the hospital. They did the test. The urine test said I was pregnant. The blood test said I was pregnant. The scan said I was not pregnant. So they could not locate the pregnancy, even though the blood was saying I was pregnant and the urine was saying I was pregnant. The scan said no, there was no baby, there was no heartbeat. What is that? How do you even explain that to anyone? Of course, what would they do? They ask you to go home, and then you come back the following day, the following week. We would check, we'll keep checking. So I came home, I started spotting, then started bleeding, and I will go, they will do the blood test. They wanted to monitor to see whether the levels were going up or coming down. If they were going up, then it means that the baby is developing somewhere in my body, and then they might have to operate and things like that. I didn't understand it. That was when our first time that they were talking about ectopic pregnancy, unlocated pregnancy. I was on admission. My husband disappeared. He disappeared. I was calling. There's a lady that I called my sister-in-law, because they're both West. So I called her and I said, "Where is your brother? This is what is happening. This is what they are saying. They don't know whether they're going to operate me. I don't know what's happening. He's not picking up. I don't know where he's gone." Was like, "Let me call him." Then she called me and said, "He's at work." I said, "He's at work. I am here. I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know whether this fetus is going to come somewhere in my throat, my heart. I don't know if I'm going to die or survive." And he's left me. I was angry. I was fuming. I was sad. I was crying. I felt so lost. I felt so lonely. Who do I call? I need somebody to hold my hand. But anyway, the following day he came, he was like, "Oh, I needed to go to work because..." I said, "Okay, that's fine." They discharged us. We came home. I had a few friends over. As usual, friends will come and try to mourn with you, but you don't know their real intentions. So I had a few friends over, and then it was a Sunday. I had to go back for them to check the levels. I go to the hospital. Right at the left, I started bleeding. I started feeling dizzy and all of that. So again, they had to admit me, and then discussions, and I said, "No, I'm not having the operation." Because one, what are you operating? Where are you going to cut? What are you looking for? How are you going to find a baby? You're not going to find anything, because the scan is not showing you the location of the baby. So I did not give the consent for that operation. So I was then like, okay, now the other option is for us to give you an injection so that you will miscarry the baby. Nana, can you imagine a woman wanting a baby so desperately, being asked to sign a paper to say, "Yeah, give me the injection, let my baby go"? It was hard. I mean, I'm a Christian, I'm a woman of God, I have faith, and I had pastors telling me, "Nana, do not take the injection, it will work." I said, "But they cannot find a baby." It's not like I'm doubting it, but they cannot find a baby. It's at the point where I need to think about my health as well. Anyway, we had a discussion with my husband. As usual, he's very quiet. He said, Nana, anything, me, I don't know, whatever, you know. So there's a lady, a Ghanaian midwife, that I said, no, I will speak to the lady before I take the injection. So she came in, then she used her life as an example, not because of childbirth, but her own personal experience that she had. It encouraged me. I said, okay, fine, I will take the injection. And I have to sign the dotted line for them to get rid of my wanted baby. But I did it. They discharged me, no support, nothing, you know, no signposting. We came home. You have to carry on. Life goes on. The next day you go to work. You carry on being a wife. You carry on, you know, doing whatever you do. So I did that. And actually, that picture on the wall, the one in the red, I was pregnant.
I will take that photo.
Yeah, I was pregnant. That pregnancy I just told you about. Yeah. But they discharged me. What did I do? I dressed up, me and my husband, and we went for an occasion. And I danced, and I won the best dancer that night. None of my friends, none of my family knew what we were going through because I didn't talk about it.
Guys, the reason why we're doing this is, you know, in terms of our experiences as Black people, I will always say our experiences are different. And I think we've gotten to the point where sometimes we don't talk about these differences. We see people on the high street thinking everything is okay. But these are some of the things that happens behind closed doors. If this has been your experience and you want us to talk about it, because it's really important we form that network. Reach out, you know. My name is Nana Say. If you reach out, you know, via Instagram, I think that will be the preferred. Equally, you can send email. I will put all those details down. And I know somebody will be out there saying, Nana, just shut up. We want to listen to these people. Yeah. Ken, this is the situation where, as a man, you know, as men, we've basically got nothing. We don't know what's going on when our wives tell us, maybe I may be pregnant, or this is what's going on within her body. At that moment in time where maybe you left the hospital, what was going on for you?
The truth, I didn't know how to deal with it. So it's when we were told that they couldn't locate the baby and they couldn't feel a heartbeat, but then the urine test and everything was showing that there was something in there. I was just like, what's going on now? And at the point I was sitting outside and one of the nurses just got here and said, look, gentlemen, you cannot be here. So the anger and the frustration out of me, and then knowing that I cannot help my wife in any way, I just took off. And I don't have a best friend. I don't do that best friend. So no, this is my best friend. This is my house. This is my friend. So I just, where do I go? The next sort of place to go, not to think about it, is just go to work. I could have the time easy at work because I was manager of the company and they could easily give me the time off. But just for me to get something to be doing, not to be focusing on the problem at hand, I just went to work. And that was my mechanism of dealing with it. So I went to work, did what I could do, came back from work, just came back to hospital straight away that morning, and we're told it would take some time, and then she was discharged later in the afternoon, and we go back home. And it was hard, but could I have done something different? That was the only thing I knew how to do, because I don't do friends, and that is my life. So I just felt the only thing for me to do is to go somewhere where I would not be thinking about the problems I had, and then just do something and then come back home. And that was what I did. Wow.
So as men, in terms of regulating our emotions, that is something that unfortunately parents don't teach us. When you're growing up as a young lad, you'll be told boys don't cry. And in terms of learning that skill of, you know, being able to identify somebody to let them know this is what's going on, it's more or less you are a person of yourself. You need to fix everything that's going on for yourself and your family. Unfortunately, some people then tend to misuse substances. Some people could equally become abusive in the relationship because, the situation is, I am the man, my reputation is out there, where people are asking, when is your wife gonna get pregnant? How much of that would you say, in as much as you didn't have that many friends out there, for yourself as an individual, when you go places, Nana is telling us about you guys going for a function, dancing your heart out. How much of that did you actually make it actually apply to you?
The way I live my life, it makes it difficult for people to ask me such questions. And she's aware because I don't, even with my friends, I don't entertain such questions. So they cannot ask me such questions as well because I've made it my point that, look, no one taught me that, but I made it my point that if somebody has got married, they're not having children, you don't know their problem. And everybody in all walks of life, they've got their own personal problems. And when they come to you to share their problem, that's the only way you can have your say in their issues. So if they've not addressed you with their problems, you don't. So I don't share if I don't have a child, it's not my doing that I don't have a child, it's God, He is my creator. So if He's not giving me, I'm not one to be sick telling people, look, I don't have it because of this problem. No. So I think I don't give people the chance to ask me that question. So yeah, a few friends will say, oh, when would you give birth? But it's just jovial way, but not serious friends that will come to me and put that question across. So that's how I live my life. And I don't bother myself with people's problems. And so I don't want them to bother me with their problem. If you want to share, yes, you can share. We talk about it if I can help. But I'm not that type that will come to you and be bothering you with issues around you or issues around me to find out. That's not how it is. So I think that's what made it easier for me because I never entertained such questions. So those questions were not thrown back at me.
How much do you think, Nana, for you emotionally, how much did you think you'd understood Ken in terms of the whole journey? And let's be very honest, this is not about naming and shaming, but, in terms of maybe your perception about childbirth may be different from him, Was there any point in time where you felt he wasn't getting what's going on?
I think because of his nature, the way he is, he's very quiet, very reserved. He doesn't really talk much. So even when I raise a topic, he has a way of shutting it down. So as I said before, we never sort of spoke about it, but there were the odd times where I will sort of make a comment to say, are you not worried that we don't have a child? And we said, no, I'm not. It's not your fault. It's not my fault. It's God. If God wants to bless us, He will bless us. If not to, then He doesn't. And it doesn't change anything. I did not marry you because of children. But in me, I felt like maybe he doesn't understand it from a woman's perspective and how it was affecting me and the comments out there and the need for me to be a mother. I think for him, or should I say I felt that for him, he was okay, whether he has one or not. Because in the culture, people don't blame the man, they blame the woman. So he didn't feel any pressure. And as he said, his family was not pressurizing him. Not that my family was, but it was just being a woman and knowing that people out there expect you to have a child. And if you don't give birth, then it is your fault and not the man's fault. Or it is you that hasn't made it happen. So for me, the pressure was on me. The pressure was on me. I think there was one time where my husband made a comment that I thought, oh, he doesn't really care then. And maybe he can elaborate on it because I've never asked him. But I remember there was a time, it got to a point that I could fall pregnant like within 3 months. So I'll have miscarriage, and then the next month or two, I'll find out that I was pregnant again. And so it was quite constant. And I remember there was a time he said to me, "Don't tell me when you fall pregnant until after 3 months."
Okay.
And I was like, oh, is it that he doesn't care, or is it that it is too emotional for him, or is it that it's too much for him to deal with? The frequency of me being pregnant and miscarrying that made him say that. So I had those emotions going, and I thought, oh, okay, fine. If you don't want to know, then I wouldn't tell you. But I couldn't. I kept telling him, I'm like, I'm not going to take that burden alone. I'm not going to take that emotional burden alone. I'm going to tell you so you know that this is what I'm going through, because trust me, your emotions will be up and down. Your hormones are up and down. So if I don't tell you, I might respond or act in a way that you think, why is she acting like that? But yeah, so I told him, and he was like, don't tell me. And then I'm like, oh my God, okay, this is so not fair. But that's the point where I felt, okay, it's either he doesn't care if he becomes a father. It's either maybe he's thinking, whether it comes or not, me one day I'm a man, I can still have a child, even if I'm 70. Or
Did it threaten you? Let me be very honest as a woman.
I have never.
Let me interrupt again. Coming from a background where in some cultures you will be told, you can go out there as a man and father your own children and bring to your household. Did it at any point in time make you feel wobbly in your position as a wife?
I will say yes and no. No, because I am quite a confident woman, and I know that should, God forbid, my marriage break, I am a catch. So I didn't care.
Guys, this lady, right? Nana is a different person, right? So if we are having this person tell us about her journey in terms of infertility, it's not because Nana has not felt the emotional bits, but the resilience is on a different level. Nana is a bubbly person, and same thing, Ken would understand Nana in a different way. But the situation, the reality out there is, if Ken is going out there, was it at any point of time where you were thinking, is he likely to go and have his own child?
No, that is a no. Not in this country, but I felt that maybe if we were living in Ghana, the situation would have been different. Different in a way that the pressure that maybe he would have received, not from his direct family, but maybe the extended family, could have impacted on the marriage and everything we were going through. But in this country, no. He's never given me any reason to believe that he's that kind of person, that he would do that. And he was consistent with what he was saying. He didn't change his story or how. It's just that he didn't know how to express that emotional support that I needed for me, for me and for him. He didn't know how to express it. His was, I'm going to work, I'm back home, we've eaten. That's it. The next day. We're not talking about it. If it happens, it happens. So no, I didn't feel like he would do that, because I did explore fostering. I did explore adoption. I did explore surrogacy. And he told you himself that got him angry. Yeah, but no, not at any point did I.
But Anna, you working with children, right? And this is the situation where you're working with children, you protect children, and you haven't got your own child or children. What was going on for you, especially when you are reading files of some parents not being able to look after their own children? What was going on for you?
There are days that I will come home and cry, because my husband was working a lot of the time, nighttime. I come home to an empty house. So I'll come home and cry, or I will call a friend and I will say, hey, this world, this life, it's not balanced, as we say in a joking way. Can you imagine somebody's got 6 children, 4 children, they cannot look after them, and me, I want one and I can't have it. and then we'll just talk about it. And then I will come home, I will cry myself to sleep. I'm like, God, when will it happen? Why are you making these people? And especially when I've been to the GP and I'm being told, go and lose weight. And I've seen another person walking out of the GP surgery bigger than me. I'm like, how is weight even part of the discussion? This person is definitely bigger than me, but they're pregnant. So what is going on? But what do? I love children. I love children, and I did it with my whole heart, and I still do. And I just left it to God to say, look, when the time is right, it will happen. There was, in 2019, I was pregnant, and I was speaking to this pregnant lady that had lost her child to social services. And I was speaking to her because she was pregnant again. And she said to me, I am going to abort this pregnancy because of you, because of this phone call. Because you people want to take my child away from me again, and you don't understand. And Nana, that day, the whole day in the office, you know, when you want to cry, but the tears are not coming, but your eyes are so red. Everybody was like, are you crying? Are you okay? That day, I will not lie, it really, I'm like, how can somebody abort a child because of me? How can a child that I so desire for be aborted? I cried on my way from work. I was crying. I'll go home. I was crying. I'm like, God, should I even leave this job? Because my intention is not for anybody to feel they need to abort their child. Little did I know I was pregnant that time too. I didn't know I was pregnant that time. Again, we did not talk about it. So I didn't even know how he was feeling. Sex was another thing we didn't do. What if...
I definitely wanted to explore further, but I don't want this video to be too long. And I know somebody may say, no, get them to talk about it. You know? Guys, I think, you know, we will definitely have to come for a part 2. And I think basically that's what we have to do for now. It's been amazing for anybody out there who may be going through infertility. I don't know. I feel a bit cringing when I'm using the word infertility because, you know, for whatever term that may be allowed or agreed that we need to refer to it as. Let's remember that we need to be able to seek the support for ourselves in our community and also help other people, young couples, you know, whoever may be thinking of having a child, let's look at how best to support such persons through our language and also through such networks to make sure that they are able to identify with people who have gone through their journeys and can support them appropriately. Guys, if you haven't subscribed till this far, what more are you waiting for? Click the subscribe button, be part of this journey. I will definitely do my best to come and, meet Ken and Nana again. Please, if you can, put in the comment section which part. Is there anything that you want to know further? And if you want to reach out to Ken and Nana, please let me know. I'm sure they will be happy for me to share their details as well. So, guys, it's been amazing. This is not just about the happy stories that we always post on Black Next Gen. This is about a learning experience, and I think it's been amazing learning and also being with you once more. Guys, I sign out, and what I'll say is, boom, see you soon.
Oh my God.